BSNDenver Sports.
Allie, Monroy here with Shapiro with the beautiful Rocky Mountains behind us, previewing Colorado's upcoming matchup against Washington in the Pac-12 championship. Jake, what are you expecting from this game?
I'm expecting a damn good football game. That's the start. We're going to go to the Pac-12, or we're going to be there. That's why
yes, we will be.
We're going to be at the Pac-12 championship for BSN Buffs, and I'm expecting to see a really good football team. It's the best team in the North, Washington, versus the best team in the South, Colorado. Washington's been a very good football team all year long. Been very impressive. The only loss they have is to a USC team that might be the best team in the Pac-12 in terms of the way they've been playing the last 2 months. Colorado also has one of its 2 losses to USC, the other one, of course, being at Michigan. So these are 2 teams that have taken care of probably every single team they should have taken care of. And either team, Colorado's maybe on the outside looking in right now, but either team could seriously be considered for the college football playoff as well.
We talked a little bit about it in the post-game, but what are a few ways the Buffs offense needs to step up against Washington's defense?
They need to run the football.
I agree.
Phillip, Lindsay needs to get out and run, and they need to call his number, and they need to call it a lot, and that's something they shied away from a little bit in the Rumble and the Rockies against Utah. So I think what they need to do is establish a run game and then try to pick at Washington's secondary. They have an unbelievably talented secondary with guys like Sidney Jones, and Colorado needs to find a way to get that run game going so that they don't have to make sure that they have to, throw the ball and being in passing situations and predictable situations. They can get those one-on-one matchups on the outside, and maybe then a guy like Shea Fields or Devin Ross can break free because we've seen it happen in the past.
I agree. What are you expecting from Sefo? He hasn't played his best the last few weeks. What are you expecting from him against Washington?
I'll correct you there because I think his game against Washington State might have been his best
Washington
game.
State, yes, but against Utah last week, it wasn't his best.
Yeah, I think they need to take some pressure off him, and that's why he struggled. Is Utah has a really good defensive line. Well, guess what? Washington does too. If they can get Phillip Lindsay going, that's what opens up the lanes for Sefo Luifau and gives him the ability to run a little bit untouched and gives him the ability to pass and the time to do so. So I think Colorado needs to run the football to take the pressure off of their offensive line because Washington's front seven, let alone their secondary, is no joke.
I agree. Washington's known for their high-scoring games this season. Do you think it's going to be a challenge for the Buffs, or what do you think about that?
Well, the last few weeks, we've seen Luifau against Colorado's secondary, which was a really fun matchup to see. Now we're going to see Jake Browning against this secondary, and that's going to be really fun to see. This secondary last week against Utah might have been their best game.
It was crazy.
In general this year. They were very, very good. If they come out with that effort against Jake Browning, I know he's got a guy in John Ross on the outside to open up some lanes for him, but if they come out with that effort outside on the secondary, I think Washington might get held to 2 touchdowns or less because that secondary, the way they played last weekend, if they can bring that mentality into the Pac-12 championship game, that is a huge momentum builder for the Buffs in everything else that they do.
Any players that you're expecting to make a huge impact on this game?
I think a couple seniors might step up again, but
I agree.
I want to look at a guy in Addison Gillum who might be a guy that steps up in this game. A lot of people are looking at the defensive line and the secondary for the Buffs, trying to stop this Washington offense, but the linebackers need to step up. We saw it last week with Kenneth Olabode and Jay Fallow and Rick Gamboa. They looked pretty good. Addison Gillum was a little bit quiet last week, and I expect him to have a pretty big game if the Buffs are going to win.
Score predictions?
This one's tough, Allie, but
I know. I really struggled.
I've got Washington 24 to Colorado 21.
Wow, okay. Well, I have Colorado 27, Washington 24. If you aren't able to go to the game like we are, be sure to go to CU's official watch party at the Blake Street Tavern. For Jake Shapiro, I'm Allie Monroy, BSN Buffs.